Everybody. Welcome. This is quarantine day 18, which still can't believe. Truly remarkable. I'm Meg. I'm an art teacher here in Madrid, Spain. Quarantine 18 days. This is crazy. But since this is crazy, we might as well just make some crazy fun artwork in the meantime. Let me show you a little snapshot of what is coming, and then we can gather some materials and get going here. So I promised we were going to be making watercolor paper mobiles, depends how you pronounce the word. Basically, this is a sample. Mine is super long, but you can do yours however you would like. I love these because you get to appreciate color and spaces totally differently than regular. And I think they're just fun because they're pretty relaxing to make. Hello to Minnesota. They're pretty relaxing to make and end up just kind of lighting up a room with a really fun type of energy. So let's get started. Let me tell you what you need and we'll get going here. So you're going to need a couple pieces of blank paper. I wrote 3 on there just in case, but depending on what process you choose today during our session, you'll either use 2 or 1 or 3. Totally up to you. You're going to need a paintbrush, a little bit of water or a jar of water. You're going to need some watercolors, glue stick, scissors, and the one kind of odd resource you need today is thread and a needle. I'm just using like embroidery thread. You could use regular thread. You could use, depends on the type of rope you have maybe. Whatever works for you, or whatever kind of colors match your color scheme, you go with that. I'm sticking with blues today because I'm doing an orange and blue and black, sort of kind of in an orange, blue, and black sort of mood. So that's my color palette. You can totally choose. Let's get started right after I pray here. God, thanks for taking us by the hand and walking us through this time. I thank you that even when we feel limited, God, you never are. And Lord, we give you this time and this day. We offer our gifts and the energy that we have in this time, and we just offer it to you. I pray that the words that come out of my mouth be a blessing to those who watch and to your heart. And I just pray that we would, at the end of the day, have a lot of fun together, just enjoying the amazing colors you've made and also just how creative you are, Lord. It is in Jesus' name that I pray. Awesome. Well, thanks so much. It's so good to have you. Let's get started. Grab out that piece of paper. Looks like this. I'll move my camera so you can see everything. And we'll get started here. So open up your jar of water or whatever water you've got going on over there. And grab your paintbrush out. I've got a couple different palettes here. Today I'm going to be sticking with this sort of rust color. Let me see if you can see. This rust color. There we go. Okay. And a couple of these blues over here. I'll try to make a mention whenever I use which of the two, but you can pick a color palette. I recommend doing a color triad, so 2 colors that work well together. So I also try to stick with a similar intensity for each of them, which with watercolor is really nice because you can adjust it quite easily. So that being said, you look at your colors, see what colors sound good to you. I'll again point out the colors I'm looking at if you want to follow along. So I'm using this rust color. I'm using this kind of cobalt. I'll be using this sort of aqua, and then I'll be mixing that with a little bit of green. My palette's a little messy right now. But step 1, we're going to take the sheet of paper that you have, and you are going to grab a little bit of water on your brush. Let me move my water over here so you can see a little bit more of the process here. Okay, great. So, yep. Get that brush nice and wet. What we're going to do, I'm going to start with the orange, and what's really fun about this project is we are just going to paint circles and squares on one side of the paper, and we'll sort of create a design over this entire front of the paper. We'll dry it, and then we'll flip it over to the back, or I'll show you option B when the time comes. So here we are. I'm just going to start by start off with some squares. I'm not really worrying about if the paint is it's like fully balanced or even. We're just kind of letting it be like this. From here, with each color in my triad, I'm just going to choose a couple different forms to do. I'm not really paying attention to any specific spacing, but I am trying to get forms that are bigger than a quarter, smaller than a softball. Is that that's kind of the range we're looking at. And then I'm trying a couple different techniques. So I've got some squares, I've got some circles and some squiggles. Just gonna try a couple different things. And remember that watercolors, when they do dry a lot lighter than we expect. So sometimes I just go back and I dab a little bit of pigment back into my brush, or I mean into the drawing that I have, just to sort of make sure that the colors stay a little bit brighter. Also, it adds sometimes like a really nice little point of interest. I'm gonna do another little circle over here in this really nice light color. And I might wrap up this row of this pigment with another box or square down here. Okay, so great. If you're following along with me, hopefully you are close to being done with your first row. Again, we're sticking with just this first color here. And what's super nice about this is that we just get to kind of enjoy working with paint. We don't have to really worry about the specific forms or anything. So I kind of got my paper done with that round. I'm gonna add a little touch up over here. Besides that, we're looking really good. Clean off your brush. Let's go to color number 2 and kind of get that onto our paper here. For color number 2, I'm going to be making a mixture of these 3 colors that I just talked about. So I'm going to grab a little bit of water, put it in the well in the middle of my palette. I'm going to be taking a little bit of this cobalt, letting these guys all hang out together, a little bit of this aqua, dipping it in and mixing it around in the middle. And then I'm going to snag a little bit of this green. Okay, so I'm left with this really nice milky jade, which is super nice. I love this color. I'm gonna add just a little bit more pigment so that I can make it through this entire row of painting. And then we'll get going here. So get your brush fully saturated with whatever color is next for you. And we're gonna go on to this next row. Again, I'm gonna kind of repeat the same forms, maybe in a different order, maybe in the same order, who knows? Let's start with the box though. I think it's a safe way to make sure that your color is fully mixed. I love this color because it's so nice and soft, and it just kind of almost like a little bit more of an intense seafoam, but I really, really like it. I was mixing it earlier today and I was like, oh, I've missed you. You know, you haven't seen a good color in a while. Okay, so yep, we're getting just a couple of these things done. I might do one giant squiggle for this middle section here. Again, dipping back into the pigment to make sure that the intensity is maintained. And grab a little bit more in here. Awesome, we're looking really good. Grab one more circle here. And then lastly, we're gonna just cap it off with a box. Notice I'm not really worrying about each of the edges. I'm just kind of letting the paint do its thing. If they hit each other or mix, that's totally fine. All right, lastly, we're gonna go to our last color of this triad that I decided. We're gonna go to black. So I'm just gonna saturate this paint a little bit. You can't even really see it on your side because it's so dark, but again, I'm gonna just kind of go through this box. Let me see if I can flip this page so you can see. Okay, yep. And again, we're going towards a circle, making sure that paint is fully saturated and mixed. I like kind of adding a little bit more black. Sometimes it waters down pretty quickly. Great. This one I'm going to leave a little bit of blank space in between some of those squiggles just for interest. Okay, and then lastly, another box over here. Great, guys, we're looking really good. So next step is the loud step. So if you're joining us just a couple minutes in, welcome to the hairdryer part of this lesson. To speed up the process, I'm just gonna blow a little bit of hot air onto my paper. I'll show you kind of as it dries. The key is that you don't want those paint to spill off your page and make a huge mess, so I just try to take my time with it. I'm gonna put it on the lowest setting that I have and then just kind of work my way over the paper, and then we're gonna flip it over and paint the other side. All right, we're super close. Got a couple wet spots over here. I've won them over though, they're drying. Lovely. Okay. Sweet. So I've dried the top of my paper. I usually like to let them air dry, but this is what I have so far. Notice I'm not like making any crazy amazing paintings. They're just pretty simple, which I really like. So now's the fun part. Flip it over, and we're going to do some different lines on the back. We're going to do a little bit more of a watercolor wash. So what's going to happen is we're going to take our brush, make sure you clean off whatever color was last. I'm going to go back into that first paint color, this rust up here that we had been using before. I'm going to dip my brush in water again, and I'm just going to slowly create like a circular form on the back of my paper. Your paper might fight you a little bit, especially if it's not watercolor paper. I just ordered some on Amazon, hoping that I can get some in these next couple weeks, but you can't always predict a quarantine. That's what we're all learning globally. So here we are. I'm just going to make a larger circular form over here, and then I'm going to do a couple other smaller circles and just kind of mix them around. These can be in any place on the page. Notice that some of the pigment is super watered down, some of it's a little bit more intense, but I can always go back and give it a little bit again of those lots of darker pigment to kind of give it some interest, but you can do it however you would like. Okay, so I'm doing, I guess, 5 circles on this page. Trying to not paint too much extra water, because if I can keep the dry time down, that's always nice. Okay, cool. So I've got these circles kind of all around my paper. Now clean off that brush. We're going to go back and we're going to grab a little bit more of the second color in your triad. So for me, that requires a little bit of mixing. For you, you might just be using one of the colors in your palette, which I'm sure, depending on which one you have, that probably look great. So I'm going to start by just kind of creating some smaller circles here, and then a couple larger ones. These ones I'll come back and I'll build on to grab a little bit more intensity, but just to start off, it's good to make a base. We can always add more later. Okay, oh, this one's a lot more green than I want it to be. Well, a little bit blue and call it a day. Great, so again, I'm just kind of painting sporadic circles around my page. You can do a couple boxes if you would like. You can do, you know, honestly, it's totally up to you. I'm going to go back to this one now, and I'm just going to add one more layer of this darker blue on top. I'm going to give it a little bit more, a little bit more intensity there, which is nice. Okay, great. So looking really good. This one's a little bit more greener than I would like, so we'll mix over this one. So I've got a couple other shapes here. I might add one more ring to this last one over here. And then I'll move on to the last color. So it's great because I love doing a little bit more sporadic paintings like this, because you get to kind of just let the colors do their thing. And especially on days maybe where you're like a little more tired, you want to let the colors work for you. It's a really great way to just kind of paint and be in the zone without feeling like you have to make a million artistic choices at one time. Okay, so from here, we're going to go back into that last color of the triad you've created. I'm going to do just a couple like more oval shapes with the black, just to kind of switch it up for myself, but you can do whatever you would like. Again, just going back into that black paint, adding a couple more circles. Again, just sort of getting these forms together. The awesome thing about this all being on one paper is when we start making the mobiles, like it's going to be really, really easy, really easy to form. We don't have to do much cutting or gluing or really anything like that. So super nice. I'm going to do a couple softer gray ones up in the corner. Remember that with watercolor, we do have a quite intensive range of tones that we can accomplish. So feel free to do anything you would like there. I always like to remind us of our opportunities as artists. Like, you can use any of the colors that you want. It's so exciting. Great. So I've got a couple I'm just going to finish up over here. And after that, I mean, I feel like we're looking really good. I'm just going to add a couple smaller circles and continue just to fill this page. Okay, lovely. So it looks like I like stumbled upon like this, one of those stones from, what's it called? I don't know, sometimes at like parks and stuff, maybe this is a Minnesota thing, they have they sell those bags of stones that are all like brightly colored like this. It kind of reminds me of that. Okay, well, we're looking really good. I see, I got a couple splashes over here. Great, so with that, we're gonna grab our hair dryer. We're gonna blow dry the top of this page one more time, and then we'll start kind of arranging our mobile. Yeah, they did look like the rocks from the Minnesota shore. That's what I was looking for. Thanks, Mom. All right, letting these tones really settle into the paper here. Awesome. Okay, chasing the last of these little droplets here on my page. We're so close. If anybody who's just joining us know this is not a hair tutorial. We're doing some art over here. All right. Moving them over. Pigments are drying. This is great. Almost there. Fabulous. Okay. We've called it a day. Hopefully yours is drying quicker than mine is. So here's what we've got so far. If you're just joining us, we have done a couple different rows of a colored triad we've created on the back of our paper. We blew dry that really fast, flipped it over, and then created some sporadic similar tones. I added, I guess mine are a little bit more blue here than green like they are in the back, but that's okay. Bright is good. And then we kind of scattered these all around our paper. The next step is, I think, where everything gets really fun because as we know, mobiles, whatever you call them, they're three-dimensional because they spin. So we need both sides of our paper to be decorated and cared for. And so we just did that by painting both sides of our paper. So let me show you kind of my next step that I do when I make these. Let me move these so you can see a little bit closer. We'll move this closer to you. Great. So we've got these 3 rows. What I'm going to do now is turn this over to the back side. I'm going to look at the different color moments that I have because I want to represent all 3 of these tones, or these, I guess, host colors in our triad. In my mobile, I want to make sure that I can kind of connect at least 2 of them in every single piece that I start to attach. If you notice on my example, a couple of mine sometimes have little specks of blue or black or orange, and I kind of rotate them. Like this one has all of them represented. So that's kind of what we're going for. We're looking for colors that have combined in a moment of sorts, and we're gonna cut some cool shapes. So this first one, I'm just going to start with the very corner of my paper right here. And I noticed these 2 tones and shapes look really look good together. So I'm going to actually just start with a really simple square or rectangle form in the corner, and then we'll use that kind of as a building block piece. So here we go. I'm going to cut it from this way. I almost had it. Okay, we'll trim it off. So again, we want to make sure all of our edges are nice and crisp. They don't have to all be straight, but if you can make them so far convincingly straight, I feel like. So that's the first piece that I have. I have let this moment kind of get cut off and the story kind of stops there, and this one is complete. So that's what we're going for. Now, I'm only going to look at this top part of the paper, but do notice that when you cut this side of the paper, you're also cutting designs from the back. And sometimes these are where the most exciting parts of the project really come from, is these like accidental pairings that we have. So we'll put this one aside and we'll keep going here. I might continue into this part of my drawing and kind of go in rows if I can. Next, I'm going to cut out a circle or an oval. And again, I'm going to try to include at least 2 of the tones that I have. This one might touch on 3, which is always nice. Okay. Great, so I have this one, it's got a couple of those different forms, just a hint of that blue-green, and then on the back, I've got some really nice washes that combine really beautifully in that space. So what we're gonna do is kind of alternate. Here are the pieces that I have so far, you can check those out, and then we'll continue onto the back part here. Maybe I'll try something really angular. I did this one with one of my last ones. I kind of kept the curve of the oval. I cut off the top and separated it from the rest of my paper, and then I'm gonna angle this line as well to kind of skip that round corner that I have. So here's what I have for my third shape. Great, so from there, we can continue on in rows and just kind of cutting out each of these shapes in a way that makes sense to you. I think I'm gonna kind of stick with some of these sharper angles, but don't feel like you have to like keep with the normal shapes that we often right off the bat guess, like squares or triangles, rectangles, whatever. You can do ovals, you can do sort of like warped pebble or rock forms. That's what I did. I might actually keep a couple of these. Like I really like this stone form that I have. So I might actually cut this one out and then use the pieces around it to kind of create some other tiles for my mobile. So let's keep going here. I might do a triangle since I already have an angled line here on my paper. Let me show you. So I'll do a triangle out of this piece. So as you can kind of tell, the way that at least the way that I'm approaching this assignment, or this assignment, oh my gosh, this project is just that I get to let my cuts and lines dictate each other. So this one has this really pastel kind of elegant side, and then on the back we have these ripples that I painted. So it's really cool to see kind of what things start happening. All right, we are continuing. I'm just going to keep kind of cutting out some fun shapes here. Hopefully yours is going well. We're looking to end up with about 10 shapes maybe. Depends how big yours are. Yeah, so I'm going for a couple shapes that are traditional and then a couple that are warped, but I'm just gonna cut up my whole paper so I have a bunch of different shapes to as options, if that makes sense. So I've got a couple other fun shapes there. I'm about halfway through my paper. I've got about this much left. So far, really looking pretty good. What I am gonna do is do a couple larger pieces on this side. So this one's a pretty long rectangle. This will help add some length to our mobile if you want to, or you can also turn it this way for a little bit of width. So when we're cutting these shapes out, we want to think about the type of angles and kind of overall shape of the mobile that we can entertain with the different forms that we have. Okay, so I am gonna do a couple skinnier kind of bars. I did a couple like this on my last one, and they ended up being like way more exciting like visually than I expected in the piece at the end. So again, a couple longer rectangles might serve as really nice breaks in your mobile. Okie dokie, moving forward, y'all. This is looking good. I haven't even flipped them all over yet to see what other options I have. Next, we're gonna play a matching game. It's very fun. Okay, so trying to stay focused. I guess I'm cutting out quite a few more than 10, but sometimes it just depends on what type of shapes and arrangement you already have going on. Okay, so I've got this one, kind of a fun, almost like a geode-like shape, and then super cool when I flip it over, I've got these couple tones represented. So a really nice way to have those happy accidents happen, in the words of Bob Ross. Yeah, kind of keeps me excited to see kind of like what element of chance can offer your work. I think especially as right now, a lot of things are decided for me, just like what I can and can't do and where I can and can't go. So it's nice to, in some ways, like have some of those choices I am not making be actually happy ones. So here we are. We've got a lot of really great forms here. I actually decided to keep this rock as is. I have one or two of these shapes left over from my first mobile, so I'll throw them in the mix as we're deciding what shapes go together. Let's zoom out and let's start building a long line of the mobile's order. Now, I'm going to show you mine so we can kind of review one way to do it as an example, but you can do it, of course, any way you want. So I did a couple like half moon shapes. This kind of, to me, spoke as like a really nice topper. So if you have forms that are a little bit more angled like that to kind of begin, I think a circle would also work really well, an oval at the top to kind of slide, visually slide into the long line of shapes that you're going to introduce to your viewer. And then an important thing to think about is where certain forms leave off, how do other tones communicate? So if you notice, there's this peach up here, and I brought back some of that peach down here, and then when this piece rotates, it actually fits in with the same visual line. You can see those two end at the same place. So good things to think about is we're kind of doing this game of mixing and matching. Is, you know, what side do you want to be the front? What side would you like to be the back? Knowing that they're all going to spiral at the end. So it's almost, it kind of reminds me of like Tetris or like those really tough puzzles. And then again, we'll grab that thread in just a couple minutes once we've kind of arranged the pieces the way that we would like to. So let me talk you through kind of how I'm going to start mine, and maybe that will help you as you are arranging your own. So I'm actually going to slide my mat out of here so that we can really look at these on a clean surface. So again, I talked about just briefly, this line is not straight, just briefly about how the top of your mobile can be a way to kind of invite the viewer to visually look into it. Another way to do that would be to start with the point. I looked at this piece and I thought this might be a really nice one to start with at the top. I can also think that like maybe something like this would be nice at the top. So I'm going to put these as my two top candidates for the top of my mobile. And then let's kind of create the meat. What's going to be in the middle? The pieces that are visually the largest, of course, are these. But does that mean I have to necessarily put these all in my piece? No. So the nice thing is that we have a ton of options. And if that's something that stresses you out, I would just say, put them all in order and then start mixing and matching. So that's probably what I'm going to do here. I love this piece. I love the way that the blue really dominates. I think I'm going to have it go horizontally to add some width to my mobile. So I'm going to turn it this way. And then I kind of love the idea of an oval stacked on top of a rectangle. So I'm going to pair these two together in a set. And then at the end, we'll put a couple of our sets together. So I love, actually, even just off the bat, I like these three together because I have this oval form, it flattens out, and then I have like this kind of trapezoid pentagonal form down here. And then being mindful of certain lines that are more geometric versus lines that have slant. So pairing those in tasteful ways, not necessarily overlapping them, because like our example, you're probably going to have a little bit of space in between each of yours, although you can sew it however you'd like. But that's how I've been doing it, and it's worked out pretty well. So I've got a line up here that I think is pretty nice, starting with this tile up here, moving into this circular form, backing up and flattening out into this rectangle, coming back in with this pentagon, and then flattening it out in a shorter way with this one down here. I really like that setup so far. It feels pretty balanced to me. I also like how these pebbles kind of these gray ones start to kind of have a conversation. And there's a tip of green on this block, which you can't see. And when I pair these two together, it kind of looks like a continuing form. And I like that about these two. Remembering that also we're going to sew directly down the middle. And so because of that, it's a nice way to, it's a good thing to remember, especially as you're working, that the forms might not always lay exactly the way that you have them set up. So just being mindful of that in your design process is also a good thing. Okay, so I'm kind of creating two different little worlds over here. I've got these two lineups. I like how this one actually is like totally off kilter, and I think that's going to be really cool if I connect it that way maybe. What's on the back side of this one? Oh, that's kind of fun. Oh man, this is so fun. It's like Christmas. You just never quite know what you're going to get. Okay, I've got a couple more left. Oh, this one's really interesting. Maybe I'll do that one at the bottom here to kind of offset that. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, so I've got a couple that I'm not going to work with. I've got a couple, these 3 or 4. We're going to put these over here. I've got one left over from last time that I am going to use, and then the others I'm going to just put away. put that one at the end. Great. So we have got our mobile. How is yours going? Are you having fun playing puzzle time? It's so fun. Okay, I'm gonna lay mine all the way out, and then we'll keep going here. So I actually have to like warp my whole paper so that I have warp the whole station so I have enough room here. So here we are. Oh, awesome. You guys, this is such a blast. Okay, so here we are. We've arced them all together. Now I'd like you to grab your needle and thread. I fed my needle already before this because sometimes when you're under pressure, you don't do things as you would hope. So because of that, I got it already prepared. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a loop at the top, and we are gonna pretend like this mobile it needs to get hung by someplace. So I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna loop it over, and I'm gonna do a knot. One should really be fine unless you plan on like hanging rocks on your mobile at the end, just like this. Over the white space so you can see. So I have one knot there, I'm pulling it really tight, and then my needle is threaded at the very other side. Here's what we're gonna do. This is when the magic starts. So this is my first piece. I wanna think about how gravity is gonna pull these pieces down, because eventually they're all gonna weigh each other down, which is exactly what you want to have happen. So what I'm gonna do is begin at the top. I'm gonna stick my needle. Oh my gosh, lost you for a second there. Sorry for the panic attack. I'm gonna stick my needle just about 1/4 of an inch in, like this. Push it all the way through. Pull it to the end. And I'm gonna give myself about 1 inch or 2 of space here. It is embroidery thread, yep. I brought a little bit of this with me. And then I'm gonna try to hold really still so you can see, loop this through this hole and create sort of almost like a stitch. That way, this is not gonna move when the going gets tough. So if you're looking at it from the back, that's what you're gonna see. Looking at it from the front, this is where the knot is, and this is hanging like that. Okay, now I'm gonna flip to the back because that's where the tail of my thread is now. And I'm gonna pull this thread flush to the back of my paper, and I'm gonna stick it in about, again, 1/4 of an inch, like this, and pull it through. Okay, so what you should have is something like this. Now, again, I'm gonna do that same loop technique that I just showed you. We're gonna stick our needle back in, create a loop around that part of your paper. So there's that. Let me move my fingers so you can see. We're gonna pull it tight. And then we've got our first one attached. Look at that. Great, and it can spin, it can do everything it needs to do, but it's still secure. I haven't had to actually put any knots into this, which is really, really nice. Now begins sort of the idea of getting these actually all together. So this is when it becomes really important to remember the orientation of each of the tiles that you had, what part of the paper matched with the paper above it, and making sure that the holes that we punch and how we sew those pieces together actually fits the vision. So here's the next tile that I have. I'm gonna punch again 1/4 of an inch down, and it was upright like this, so I'm confident. We're gonna continue. And I'm gonna bring this one about 1 inch, maybe a little bit less than 1 inch apart between my last piece of paper. We're gonna then do that same loop technique that we just talked about. Like that. So I've got these 2 pieces now, looking beautiful. And again, because our string is hanging out this side, we're gonna wrap this flush against this tile. And you know the drill, 1/4 of an inch down, punch your hole, feed it through. I love this project because this last part is like oddly therapeutic. It's like finally all the tiles get to go where I planned, you know? Oh, thanks, Mrs. Wright, that's so sweet. everything gets to go in the plan and the vision. So, but at the same time, there also is this element of chance and wondering what kind of patterns are going to end up together. Notice I haven't flipped any of my tiles over to see what they all would look like together. So it's super nice that we kind of get a surprise when we're done. So Christmas, what you didn't think you would find when you started watching this this art show today. Okay, so again, you know the drill. The next tile, make sure you center, especially if you have a wider one like mine. Make sure you center it, and then punch 1/4 inch down like that. Pull it tight. Again, determine that distance apart. I would just try to make it consistent. You don't have necessarily to do the one that I have. Just make sure it's it's consistent. Okay, looking good. I came out this end, so I'm going to lay this string flat. Again, 1/4 inch, same drill. You're going to be doing this in your sleep. 1/4 inch, pull it through, loop it around, bring it down. I could do like a little song or something. I could ask my students up there, like, she sings all the time. Okay, so 3 for 3, looking good. How's yours? Are you sewing along with me? Makes me want to sing the song from Enchanted, like the happy working song. Where all the animals start singing with her in the apartment. That song's like my favorite. I used to sing that around the house all the time. I'm sure my family was like, thank you for sharing, Megan. All right, so we're going to continue, again, looping it around, bringing it down, and then whatever side your thread ends up on, laying it flat. Again, straight line through, punching it. We got it going on. So good. So I had one of my last classes before the semester, or no, not the semester, the week ends, and then we have spring break next week, which is just going to be bizarre. It's been really sad just because all the plans have just kind of like gone south, and that's hard. But I think at the end of the day, I just feel super grateful that that in some ways, like, there's still time. Like, God's still gonna provide for the things that we need. And for my organization, we had like a whole conference scheduled this week. But you know what? He's in control and he knows what he's doing. But I feel sad for my students who had plans to go to sunny, beautiful places. That kind of makes my heart sad. So, okay, I am, how many am I? 5 in, looking really good. Great. Again, maintaining those loops. That's what's going to keep these tiles from all sliding into each other. So if you can be faithful with those, it's really going to pay off later. Okay. Awesome. Look at it's becoming something beautiful. Okay. We're continuing onward. If you didn't have a chance yesterday to watch the video that I did a little artist Q&A. So if you've, especially people that don't know me that could be watching this right now, if you missed that and you want to know a little bit more about like why I'm doing this or who I am or why I do art or any of that, I answer a lot of those questions in that video. So if you're curious at all, it's a great way to get to know me. And I give some art advice, all sorts of fun stuff going on in that one, along with a fun project. Yeah. So, all right. Okay, I'm over halfway. How are you doing? Maintaining that same loop to loop to loop, getting these all spread apart, and fun. Oh my gosh, this is such a blast. Okay, now here's an opportunity to do something off-centered on purpose. So the last tile that I have is, this is gonna be harder than I thought. Okay, so here is mine. The last tile that I have is this sort of like, I don't even know, it's like technically a pentagon form. And I wanna connect these in a way that's interesting. But I don't necessarily want it to be balanced. And so what I'm going to do is actually punch this hole off-centered on purpose, but being sure that when I pull my string down through the back, that I actually maintain that same line of gravity. Otherwise, gravity will fight you and gravity will win. So if you don't learn anything from art class, gravity wins. You can learn that from gym class too, but yeah. So here we are. I'm going to punch that one intentionally not centered and pretty off-centered, to be honest. But I like it. Gives some character. And then, yep, again, flipping it back over. Oh man, I'm getting tangled. Flipping it back over, realigning with gravity to make sure that the hole you punch at the bottom is still going to be what's in line with where it would naturally get pulled. So I need to think about, okay, how do I want this to sit? Like that? Kind of like it. Or like that, maybe a little bit more off-centered like that. Kind of cool. Okie dokie. What colors did you guys choose? I'm curious. I'm so excited to see some of these. Maybe you went with the primaries. Maybe you, I don't know. All the curiosity on my end. Okay, great. So yep, I got that last sort of harder one handled like that. And then remembering again to keep that distance consistent all the way through. And if you make an alteration, I trust you've got the eye, so you can do it all on your own. Okay. We're getting to the end here. How many are on yours? So yours looking good. I can't see. There we go. Great. My friend got a little tangled there. Lovely. Oh man, it's like Christmas. You could just do this all day. Okay. I've seen a couple of these done for like birthday parties and some fun stuff. I think they're fun just to do for like, I don't know, in your room, or if you're becoming watercolor obsessed like I am, wherever your heart tells you watercolor is needed. There's that. Here we are. I have 3 or 4 left. I don't know how many you do have, but I'm trying to be a quick sewer. Okay. Again, laying mine flat. I can show you where I'm at. Again, I'm just choosing to kind of mount that one pretty centered. Flip it around. Lovely. Okay. Sounds good. Trying to think of anything else that's happened today. It's been a pretty mellow day. We got some bad news from our government. I don't know if I said this yesterday. Schools are now officially closed through the end of May here in our province. So online teaching is going to continue to be a thing for us. I know even some schools in the States have closed like for the whole year or gone online for the rest of the year. That is just crazy to me. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in charge of some of those decisions. That would stress me out. Okay, so here we are. I've got 2 more tiles left. And again, I just want to remember how I planned these last 2 here. This one I want to go there. Punch my hole. Wrap it up. Looking good. You can hear our bell tower going out there. Sometimes that means church. I can tell you for certain it does not mean church today. Okay. Awesome. Y'all, we are doing fab. Last one, and this is one I just stole from my last set earlier today. I got a little pebble pushed out there. Okay. Great. And again, for the last one, let me show you how I rounded this out. So I did the normal stitch like we normally do. And then what I'm going to do is just take the strand that I have. Let me show you with something real. There we go. I got the strand that I have, and I'm just going to do a really simple knot at the very back behind this last stitch that I did. Oh, Tracy, that's okay. You can, I'm sure the colors you pick would be awesome too. But yeah, I do like these colors a little bit. They're pretty. Okay, so I'm doing one knot there, and then doing another knot just to kind of cap it off and be sure that none of these stitches are going to come out, especially when they start, when you hang it up somewhere. I don't know what you're going to use it for, but, and then I'm just going to cut this a little bit shorter once I've got that double knotted. Okay, y'all, you are troopers. Let's see. Here's the one I just got, which I think is really fun so far. I can't even lift it up all the way. So there is that. I'll post a couple pictures of the other one that I made too, and you all pair them together so you can see. I hope yours turned out awesome. I think this is one of those you can't go wrong because shapes and colors, love it all. If you just did this for the first time and you finished, send me a picture or put a picture in the caption so I can see and celebrate with you. With that, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a total joy doing art with you. Let me bless you as we go, and you can go into your day. God, thanks so much for these art makers. Thank you for the gift to get to make art unto your name and to just have fun sewing and doing seemingly simple things, Lord, but getting just to celebrate how creative and how wonderful you are. Lord, I pray a blessing over everyone who's watching. Would you go before them, providing for them and caring for them today? I pray that your spirit would go before them, just preparing their steps. God, thank you for your goodness to us. Thank you that you see us in the midst of any circumstance we could find ourselves in. And we just want to tell you that we love you. It's in Jesus' sweet name that I pray. Amen. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you are in Spain, I hope you have a great afternoon. And if you are in the States, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, almost the weekend. So that's a total win. I'm Megan. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.